the Kinect. So I think I can talk about this, and I get Microsoft finishes the Kinect. They have not shared it with anybody. Nobody has seen it. Nothing is known about it. And they call up Valve and say, "Hey, can we stop by?" So I'm in the conference room. Gabe's a couple other people in there, and they start talking. And Gabe's like, "Whatever, shut up. Just show us. Just show it. Just let us see it. Let us see it. Let us do it." Right? And the first thing they show us is a racing game. I think it's Forza or something, where you have to hold your foot down and it's tracking your foot. So like instead of having the pedal to press against you, we just have to hold your foot in mid. Do that for about an hour. Right? It's horrible. And it's the classic example of like these people building tech not to solve a problem, but because they can. Like rarely do we see technology built anymore because, hey, this is going to solve a problem. This is the total problem I'm going to solve. Instead, it's like, hey, we can do this. I don't know, figure something to do with it. But like the Kinect was just an absolute brilliant piece of hardware that has zero use. Like nothing. I mean, it ended up, since I had an Xbox, right, you used to get to connect with it. So I have one, and the only thing it ever got used for at the end was I would do Skype calls. Remember Skype? And I would do Skype calls, and it would track your head. My cat Bella's head's so big and human-like that sometimes it would just track to her. And so in the middle of the call, it would just be on Bella, which I think everyone liked way better than seeing my ugly face. But yeah, it's just this endless. You see this all the time now. And then the weird thing is, like, you see these fanboys rise up and get all excited about, like, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, well, what are you using it for? What are you doing it with? They're like, well, I got it tattooed on my ass, so I got to love it. I don't know. Yeah, it is just, man, question every technology and ask, is this really going to help? Or is this just a way for us to give up privacy and personal information and get nothing out of it? Because really that is about what most technology is these days. Well, except Alexa's a failure. And so this is in context to VR and what will come. And this is the problem: is Alexa's a 100% failure. Language is an imprecise way to communicate, and Amazon's come out and they've lost billions, and they're probably going to cut this whole thing, right? I got told so many times, like, oh, voice is how you're going to interact with games. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you're just yelling the same thing over and over again then, right? There's a whole bunch of ways like this. But so the technology exists doesn't mean it's going to be used in the right way or get better. AI is a really great example. But let's look at VR or AR, right? And AR is a little bit different. But let's talk about VR, because this is about. The technology exists, and we have now ability to do input. And that was the big thing, right? The actual 3D tracking of the head and the ability to track the input is the game changer. But how Meta's using it isn't the way anyone wants to use it. Nobody wants to put it on all day and exist inside of there, right? Like, you can play Ready Player One, which is a horrible movie, by the way, and a really bad book. But, like, no one wants that. That isn't the future people want, right? And so that isn't the use case for it that's helpful. Now, will we find things, like I said, again, I'm hopeful if Meta takes their eye off the ball and lets things flourish, and we'll see what weirdness comes out of it, because I still think that's going to be the place that we find the useful stuff for it. But like, just because the technology exists doesn't mean it's awesome or good or going to win out, or over the years it'll get better and better and better. I had a Novit Falcon, I'm just going to say that. That thing's gone. It just because the technology exists doesn't mean that the technology is useful, helpful, or will get better.